You've probably heard incredible stories about Navy SEALs, tales of superhuman endurance, impossible missions, and warriors who seem almost mythical in their abilities. But how much of what you think you know is actually true? Today, we're fact-checking the most famous SEAL legends, from the brutal reality of Hell Week to the real story behind Team 6's most classified operations. If you're curious about what separates the Hollywood version from the actual truth, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more deep dives into military history and special operations. Let's start with Hell Week, probably the most famous part of SEAL training. You've heard it's one of the toughest weeks in military history, and that part is absolutely true. But the myths surrounding it, some are wildly exaggerated. Hell Week is 5.5 days of continuous operations with minimal sleep, constant physical punishment, and psychological pressure designed to break candidates. Instructors deliberately make it seem impossible, but here's the truth. It's not actually designed to kill you or cause permanent damage. The Navy has extensive medical monitoring in place. Candidates who quit aren't failures, they're making a rational decision. The real secret of Hell Week isn't that it's superhuman. It's that it's survivable through mental toughness and teamwork, and the instructors know exactly where the line is. Another massive myth, that SEALs are superhuman athletes who barely need sleep. The reality is different. Yes, SEALs are extremely fit, but most of them were regular athletes before training. What makes them special isn't genetic superiority, it's relentless work ethic and mental resilience. And sleep? SEALs understand sleep science better than most people. They prioritize recovery. The myth that they function on 2 hours a night comes from isolated training exercises, not their actual operational lives. When you're on deployment, you sleep when you can. But the SEAL teams have learned that peak performance requires proper rest. Now let's talk about marksmanship. Movies show SEALs making impossible shots from impossible distances. The truth is more nuanced. SEALs are excellent marksmen, definitely in the top tier of military shooters. But they're not making consistent shots at 2,500 yards, like Hollywood suggests. Their real strength is precision in dynamic, chaotic situations where civilians can't stay calm. They train thousands of rounds per year, far more than regular military. But the most lethal SEAL isn't always the best pure shot. It's the one who stays calm under fire and makes decisive decisions in milliseconds. Here's a myth that really needs clearing up, that SEALs operate completely alone. Every single SEAL operation is planned with redundancy and backup. Teams work in fire teams. Those fire teams work within squads. Squads work within platoons. The idea of one SEAL taking down a compound solo is movie fiction. Real operations involve extensive planning, intelligence gathering, and multiple teams working in coordinated fashion. The mythology of the lone wolf SEAL doesn't match how they actually work. Teamwork and communication are foundational. Let's address the famous Operation Red Wings, which you probably know from the film Lone Survivor. The basic facts are true. A 4-man reconnaissance team was compromised in Afghanistan. They were ambushed, and 3 of the 4 were killed. But some of the details in the movie were dramatized. The actual engagement was brutal, and the heroism was real. But some specific events were compressed or altered for film. The survivors' accounts sometimes differ in details, which is normal for combat situations where everything happens in chaos. The core truth, that these men fought with extraordinary courage, is solid, but the myth of perfect accuracy about every shot and every movement comes from Hollywood, not from the actual records. Here's something most people don't understand about Team 6, formerly known as Naval Special Warfare Development Group, or DevGRU. They're not a different breed from regular SEALs. They're the best of the SEALs, selected after years of service. The myth is that there's some kind of superhuman tier above normal SEALs. The truth is they're experienced operators with better equipment, more funding, and more selective missions. They're incredibly skilled, absolutely, but they're still human. They train constantly, yes, but that training can fail. They've had operations go wrong. The idea that DevGRU never makes mistakes is false. Now about the famous Osama bin Laden raid. The mythology built up around it is enormous. You've heard the stories about the helicopter crash, the incredible marksmanship, the split-second decisions. Those things basically happened. But the myth is that a tiny number of operators took down this impossible target. The reality involved hundreds of people: pilots, intelligence analysts, planners, support teams, special operations command oversight. The team that went into the compound was brave and skilled, absolutely. But they succeeded because of meticulous planning, superior intelligence, and extensive support. The myth ignores all that and focuses on the moment of action. Let's talk about selection and training. The myth is that it's about physical strength. Some of the strongest athletes fail SEAL training. Some relatively lean guys make it through. The actual factor that matters most is mental toughness and problem-solving under stress. Training is designed to simulate decision-making in chaos. Instructors deliberately mess with you because they want to see how you respond when everything is wrong. The physical part just weeds out people who don't have basic fitness. The mental part weeds out everyone else. Here's a myth about SEAL combat effectiveness: that they're always successful. They're not. SEALs have experienced failed operations, ambushes that went badly, and situations where the enemy adapted faster than expected. What's true is that they have incredible training for responding to failure in real time. When something goes wrong, their muscle memory and instinct kick in. That responsiveness is what makes them effective. But the myth that they never lose or never get caught off guard is false. The movie version of SEAL training shows sadistic instructors, but the reality is more sophisticated. Yes, instructors are harsh, but there's a method to it. They're teaching you to function under stress. The legendary instructors who seem to enjoy causing pain are usually the ones who are most attentive to safety. They know exactly when someone is about to break. They know the signs of hypothermia, heat stress, and psychological breakdown. They'll pull you out if you're actually in danger. The myth is that it's uncontrolled abuse. The truth is, it's carefully controlled stress designed to build specific psychological traits. Let's address weapons and gear. The myth is that SEALs always have the most advanced equipment. They often do, but not always. Sometimes they use standard-issue military weapons, like everyone else. The difference is they're training with whatever they're carrying. A SEAL with a standard rifle is more dangerous than a regular soldier with advanced gear. Their advantage isn't always technology, it's capability. They can adapt to whatever they have. That said, for specialized missions, they definitely get top-tier equipment. But it's not because the equipment is magical. It's because they know how to use it properly. Now here's something important: the myth of the SEAL code. Movies show this unbreakable brotherhood where no SEAL would ever do wrong. The reality is that SEALs are still people. There have been misconduct cases, war crimes investigations, and situations where SEALs violated rules. This doesn't diminish the legitimate heroism of most operators, but it's important to understand that the brotherhood doesn't make them above accountability. The mythology that SEALs are inherently moral because of their training is incomplete. Let's talk about the physical requirements. The myth is that you need to be a certain body type. Actually, successful SEALs come in different shapes and sizes. Some are bulky, some are lean. The key is functional fitness. Can you swim fast, run far, carry heavy stuff, and keep doing it when exhausted? The myth of the perfect SEAL physique is marketing. Real operators prioritize capability over aesthetics. You'll see variation in body composition among successful SEALs because different bodies excel at different things. What matters is that everything works together. Here's a crucial myth about decision-making under fire. Hollywood shows SEALs making instant, perfect tactical decisions. The truth is more complex. Training builds pattern recognition, so experienced operators can assess situations faster than untrained people. But they're still making decisions with incomplete information, just like everyone else. The difference is they've practiced the decision-making process thousands of times. They don't freeze up, they act. But acting doesn't mean they always make the right choice. Let me address the myth about SEAL retirement and what happens after service. The mythology suggests they all become legendary contractors, security consultants, or action movie stars. Some do, many don't. A lot of SEALs struggle with civilian transition. The myth ignores the ones who have trouble readjusting, who miss the camaraderie, who find normal life anticlimactic. Some thrive after service, some don't. The myth creates an unrealistic expectation that being a SEAL is a guarantee of success forever after. It's not. So there you have it. The major Navy SEAL myths explained and fact-checked. The real story of SEALs is actually more interesting than the mythology because it's human. They're exceptional within the human range, not superhuman. If you found this breakdown valuable, please like the video.